Hey, Jamie, Andy, what's up?
Hey Scott, thank you very much. Hi Jamie, how are you, my fellow Texan?
Hello, gentlemen. I am good. All good over here. Happy Thursday.
All right, yes, happy Thursday. Boy, we're getting right to the heart of summer. Hello, Waleed, Mike C, and a few more regulars in there. I'm sure your name will pop up here in the questions panel soon, but glad you took the time out of your day to join us today. Hopefully, we will provide some insight. I think we will. I got some stuff to share with you today, and think you will enjoy it. So let's just dive right in. But before we do, let's go take a look at our disclaimer. So nobody will get confused thinking that we are registered advisors. No, that is not what we do here. Okay, we provide education. All right, we provide education. We take a look at a really cool software that we believe and actually know that can help you with your trading, investing, and swing trading, whatever time frame you might be on. But anything that you see and hear today should not be construed as investment advice. All right, this is for educational purposes only. If that is what you're looking for, you probably want to look for somebody who is registered, whether it be an advisor, stockbroker, somebody who can legally act in that capacity. All right, let's take a look at our 5-star support, education, and training. You guys that are in here for the first time, all right, you're going to see some pretty cool stuff today, but you're also in the back of your head maybe thinking, wow, this looks pretty daunting, but it really isn't. And it's our job here at Trade Ideas, not only educators, but we're all very old. No, I shouldn't say all of us are very old, just a few of us, but long-term traders, in other words. So we not only understand the software, we do understand trading and how you can put it to work for you and to make you more profitable. And we have many means by doing that. All right, one of them is in the traders room with Barry Einerson. He is the moderator of our live free, okay, trading room. This is free for everybody. Most of you guys are better in there, but if you're not, get in there because you don't have to be a subscriber, and it is free. You'll get to see the software in action, and not only that, a great community with everybody sharing ideas. So take a look at that. And on top of that, we have webinars Monday through Thursday in the same time slot. Uh, that is 5 Eastern time. Okay, it's usually myself, Jamie, or Steve Gomez pairing up in twos and presenting. But on Thursday, we do give you our CEO, Dan Merkin, and our CTO, Brad Williams, which is a great hangout for a Q&A or to come ask questions about the demo, the product, and to not only that, see stuff coming around the bend. So, but we're not done there. Friday support session. This is a 3-hour scheduled every Friday at 11 a.m. Guys, we get in there and we just open up the go-to webinar, go-to meeting, and I guess it is a go-to webinar. And you guys come in and ask questions. And we have the software up and running, and we will demonstrate for you and help you any way that we can. So please get in there, and let's not forget about TI University, which is our next slide. Okay, guys, this is TI University. This is a 4-course curriculum. You come in on Monday at 12 Eastern, and you take 101, and then you come in at the same time each day after that until you finally graduate to 401. This is 4 hours worth of curriculum. There is a Q&A after each one. So get in there, guys. Listen, if you can't make it, we know a lot of people can't make it. They may trade in the morning, may have a job to go to. These are online. We encourage you to make it because when you're live, you can ask questions. But if you can't, all the material is available online. Just go to YouTube and type in Trade Ideas and go to the playlist, and you will see TI University. All right. Brokerage Plus, this is picking up a lot of steam moving forward, guys. More and more people are starting to use this product. It is a great interface, whether you're an auto trader or not. It's a really great interface to use for trading. If you want more information about that, go to trade-ideas.com/beta. Very cool tool. Cool tool. I like that. All right, the agenda for today. Market recap. We're going to talk about the market. It's that summertime. Last couple of days we had this sidewinder snake pattern I'll discuss, but nonetheless, you kind of expect this kind of action in the summertime. Holly recap. Jamie is going to highlight that. There was one incredible trade in there that, man, I sure hope if any of you out there who trade Holly, you really caught that. That was set up for you, offered on a silver platter, gave you time to decide if you wanted to eat it off that platter or not, and bam, then just took off. We're talking about PUYI. Jamie will discuss that thoroughly. All right, and then I'm going to discuss get your new beta download. It is available now, okay? And I'm going to show you what you can do with that. And then new alert that I kind of put together this morning and this afternoon called Gaming the Game. I'll just go into that more. Waleed always likes those. Oh no, I think he was talking about the new beta. No, he's talking about new alert. No, he likes those new alerts. All right. Yes, Waleed, we have a new alert. It's nothing game changing, but I tell you what, it's pretty interesting. If nothing else, it's going to get you maybe to start rethinking how you trade. And this is how I came to create this today. And I'll like I said, we'll dive into that when the time comes. And then if we have some time, I can if anybody wants to look at some chart requests, we can definitely do that. All right, let me back out of this real quick. All righty, and let's pull up the SPY. Before I pull up the daily chart pattern, this is what I was talking about. Look at the last 2 days in the spiders. Even though we've managed to be up on both of these days, look what we've had here. And this is what I meant by the sidewinder snake pattern. If you've ever seen one of those sidewinder snakes that cruise through the desert, how they move, wiggling their body back and forth, that's this kind of the action we're getting. And I would not be surprised to see a lot more of this action as although we do have earnings season, so there will definitely be some good stuff happening. Even if the major averages are doing this, there will be some opportunity because of earnings season. But nonetheless, be careful if you are trading stocks that do not have any news, that are not doing above average volume. You could really get caught in a kind of a whipsaw, not going anywhere action. But anyway, that being said, let's still take a look at the market recap. And boy, it's not a whole lot to add here. It's just that grind up, like we've been saying for a while now. There's no real bearish case to be made. We're not ripping, into all-time highs. The averages. I mean, the volume is kind of so-so, light to average, but just not really going a whole lot of places intraday. Got a couple of good moves here on some green bars, but let's see if something happens and maybe we get some macro news, and earnings. Like I said, earnings never hurt either. So that's upon us. But what do I say? We're above. I'm not going to draw the lines Steve did, but I'll draw one of them there. Just kind of looking back at our all-time highs, and I think I could probably pull that up just a little bit there. Yeah, so that's really kind of the area you need to keep an eye on now that our averages are above that. But boy, it's just I don't want to say smooth sailing, because just when you think it's smooth sailing, you're gonna get a major gap down, and it just kind of like what happened here. A lot of people thought, wow, we're off, and then we had about 4 days of nasty pullback. Always to be expected. So, but once again, no bearish case. Now let's take a look to see what the IWM's doing, because we were concerned that if that did not participate, could the markets keep going? And really, it's not. I mean, people can say, well, it had a little bounce there, but that's not much. I mean, you look at its all-time highs going back over here. Gosh, it's so far from it. You're talking about, I don't know what that is. Let's see. So maybe 20, I don't know, 13, 14%. I'm not going to try to guess and figure out what it is, but nonetheless, you guys can see we're a long ways away from that high. There's no participation at all in the small caps, Russell 2000. So, boy, you'd like to finally get that going. Let's take a look at the Qs, and if not, and this thing rolls over, once again, I think you have to keep an eye on the major averages, just pulling back, if nothing else. Qs, once again, not really going anywhere, but we're sitting at all-time highs. Nothing to add there, really. Kind of looks like the spiders, and I think the diamonds kind of look pretty much the same. Actually, a little bit stronger, closing on highs today. But once again, 30 stocks only in the diamond, so I don't put a whole lot of faith in that. But Jamie, I could draw all kind of lines in here, but what's the point? I mean, it's kind of a broken record every day this week. So I'm the last one to do a webinar of the week, and it's pretty much the same thing you guys have been saying. No bearish case, sitting up here near all-time highs, but really not a lot of stuff going on intraday as far as the averages go. But still a very bullish tape.
Yeah, it is just, toeing the line up there at that upper level.
Mm-hmm.
Basically got this opposite candle today that we did yesterday on the, the closing prices there, a little doji and an inverted doji almost.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Me and Steve used to call that the propeller wick, like a little propeller with one going one direction, one going the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, no reason to spend any more time on it. Everybody can see what's going on there. So, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about Holly on my side today, but so I'm not going to steal your thunder by taking that beautiful PUYI. So, if you want to just take over or I can send it to you. There we go. You're on top of it.
I got it. Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah, and as Andy was pointing out, I mean, looking at the 15-minute intraday here from the opening candle, I mean, wow. I mean, look at all the, usually don't have this much potential even in the SPY or these moves over and over again. So, doesn't necessarily make for an easy trading environment, especially in the summer months when things get a little bit stale. In any case, we are going to talk about PUYI because the interesting thing to point out is, we were talking about this earlier, especially in these kind of lackadaisical summer months, there might be some range, but typically, since we're not trending right now, I mean, if you don't take the cookies, there might not be any left when the plate comes back around. So it's more and more a risk-off type of environment. And that's exactly how Holly handled the PUYI trade today. So let's just take a look. I'm going to expand it out. And by the way, looking at the daily over here, when that thing first came up, you're like, ooh, it does have some potential just based on what we see here. But then we have the fact that Holly brought it to us via float on, which came in the day not at the highest win percent rating coming into the session here. On support was that guy, didn't produce any trades. Float on coming in at 69.7. So that's the nice odds that we were greeted with as soon as this signal was generated here. And we can see right here, about 45 minutes into the open here, technically about 31 minutes in, but that's the third 15-minute candle just opening there. So what I really like about this chart, and we see this all the time, for those of you who attend on the regulars, this should be getting kind of second nature to you now. But, nice statistical probability from Holly. So what do we do typically, or what do I do when I see something like this come up? Because we all know what the nature of the float on strategy is. It's a stock that has a low float. So looking down here, what do we have? We've got 6.8 million shares. And that's one of the lower floats of the lower floats, because typically it's going to be a float of 20 million or less. This little guy coming in not quite maybe a little less than or a little bit more than a third of that. 7 million, 21 million would be a third. So a really low floater here. We see the bottom's already been put in. There was a seller on the open, came down here. We get the signal here. Nice cozy entry from Holly. And then we get a little sideways action here. And I will address what Jonathan was talking about up there in the questions panel here in just a second. But, you know, what do we have here? We got a little sideways action. So we make a nice clean entry, whether it's manual or having automation do it for us. And then what are my eyes drawn to? My eyes are drawn to that opening high, all right? Because as we go sideways here, thinking to myself, okay, it's a low floater, how's the volume? Well, you can see how it closed today, trading, you know, roughly, what do we got here on the 3-month average? About 182,000, almost cranked out about 8 million. So that's roughly in line with that relative volume of 4.45 there. So we've got Holly on our side with statistical probability. We got the big volume. And then we've got a secondary pattern potential that could and did play out here. So we get in our first lot here, a little sideways action, really maintaining above that entry line. And then whoosh, what do we have right here? With even more volume, we got that opening range break, which would have been a really great time to go ahead and go, you know what, I'm going to double up on this position, add another X amount of shares, or, you know, just bank another entry here because we're already in it, we're profitable, and now we've got a secondary pattern playing out on top of it with volume. So as far as the setup goes, man, they just don't get much better than this. Once we took off from that level right there, it was all she wrote. 10 period, staying well above it. I mean, most of the move was in this next 30-minute period here. So it was a great move, and Holly handled it pretty perfectly here. Didn't top tick it, so to speak, but got pretty close here, looking at the shaded area, which is where Holly exited in risk-off mode, simply because the timed exit came due, and she did what she was programmed to do, and we can see down here, 60-minute hold time. Whoops. So all in all, just like I said, they just don't get much better than this. Plenty of time to get in here and react. Even if you didn't get it here, you still had another 30 minutes before the majority of, or before the thing got its legs. Jonathan was asking, Jonathan's running automation with Holly, and for some reason did not get the fill here. And Jonathan, what I'll tell you is, with a negative delta of -5 like you had in there, seems like you should have got a fill in this candle right here, because the high was 736. Looks like the low was, you know, there's only a dime range in here. So I'm not sure why your order didn't fill or if it timed out. Just by eyeballing the chart here, you would have thought a fill would have occurred, but as I popped into the message box there, if you go to your My Documents folder, you'll see a TI folder in there, and you can access your robot logs. So feel free to send that over to us, or send it to the info at trade-ideas.com, and we can send that over to the developers and try to get you an answer there as to see what was going on behind the scenes there.
Now, was that a pullback alert when it triggered?
It was float on.
Yeah, it looks like it was in that that second green candle.
Well, this was the entry candle here.
Right,
It
right.
had a 10-cent range in it, so it is possible
it's possible, yeah, if it popped up quickly.
Now, if we kind of, let's just look at a smaller time frame here. Let's look at 5-minute candles just for giggles and see if it took a big leg up there. So see, here's the 5-minute candle right here, which had a high of 730 and a low of 726. So because I'm familiar and I've run tons and tons of transactions through Holly automation, that just seems like it should have filled, you know, because there was only a 5-cent,
5-cent delta, yeah.
With a 5-cent delta, and the range of that candle was only 4 cents. So something might be going on behind the scenes. I don't know how long you've been running Holly automation, or if you've had any other issues, but I would definitely grab those robot logs, send them over to us, and we can attempt to give you some insight there.
Usually when you send those over, Michael Noss is able to find out the reason really quick, and yeah, so it's usually correct. I hate to, I don't want to say user error, but it's usually something, maybe a filter or something that you had. Maybe you had expiring too. I don't know, but
we had a 200-second time in force. But anyway, we could contemplate all day until we see those robot logs kind of just shooting blind there.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, Holly banking 8.17% in risk off mode in that little guy right there. If you would have held it, you would have maybe milked it for another 2%, but man, for risk off mode, not too shabby.
Not at all.
Now, as far as risk on spread and getting a little bit more juice via risk on, tricky day for risk on, all right? But
Mm-hmm.
there are a couple of examples here. The short sell, pretty tasty, all
Yeah,
right?
it was.
Holly, once again, just doing what she's programmed to do, exiting on the time to exit here. And then we just had this thing bleed off the rest of the day. So pretty choice entry up here. Had to sit a little bit of a wiggle as this thing figures out what it wanted to do here, but not coming anywhere close. If I squish this up enough, we might be able to see, yeah, I mean, stop loss way up here. Throws a little bit of a wiggle, but nothing substantial before it finally gives up the ghost and starts heading lower. Now, what I will say about this one, once we get through that entry line, we start dropping here. You see Holly making that exit. A couple things to notice here. Never got back up to the break-even line, so this is one of those that you could have done half and said, okay, I'll take my 13 cents, but I'd like to make a little bit more. Let's keep that second lot, risk on, use break-even as a stop. It would have kept us in the trade. And as we get through this fast line here, then it was pretty much lights out. That 10 period fast line acting as the hammer, just tapping it down for the rest of the day. So a pretty big difference between 13 and 66 cents there, another 53 cents on the table, which is a pretty significant multiple there. Nothing to write home about, only 0.82%, but hey, a big difference between 13 and 66 cents there.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that one, the only other little guy that we had here was from Count de Monet to the tune of about 20 cents when Holly reduced the risk on this one. Got a little bored, and when I look at the chart here, when we see this sideways action, that's typically when she is going to exercise one of her audibles, other than the timed hold, the stop loss, the profit target. The two audibles that she can call are the reduced risk and the profit save. So we got sideways action here, up a little bit, coming back down to break even. So she, basically that algorithm says, well, the longer I'm in the trade and it's not doing what it's supposed to, then the more likely she is to pull the reduced risk or profit save. But playing the same game here, we see Holly getting out and taking a small lose, or 3 cents. What can we look at here? Well, fast line just basically kissed it right here, and then boom, took it right back up again. On the same token, it's not like we were in a harrowing trade here. It's not like it was whooshing down here, almost stopping us out. So not a whole lot of reason to be nervous in this one. Could have, stayed in it. Either once Holly got out right here, we're right at that entry line. So, break even really wouldn't come into play there. So it was either stick to your, original stop, or be quick with the steal here in case it did get out of the way, go the other direction. But next candle, boom, back above the entry line, and just a slow 20-something cent grind back up to the top there for a pretty decent close. Other than that, we don't see a whole lot of, we don't see any other spreads here between risk on and risk off. But when we look at the day and we see risk off, biggest winner 8%, biggest loser in risk off mode 1.83%. That's what we like to see in a statistical model. So, all in all, what was Holly up today, assuming we were trading 100 share lots? We got 48, maybe 50 something bucks on a pretty low trade count. So, we could call that kind of scratch, once we fold in commissions and slippage. Don't really want to bother with running the numbers today because it's pretty obvious with 13, 19 trades in there. There is profit on the books here, but after slippage and commission, probably flat to down, a smidge. But once again, having a couple of, barn burners delivered to us in the form of P, or just one barn burner in the form of PUYI, with the added benefit of a clear secondary auxiliary pattern emerging there. Just like they say, a lot of the times on these slow market days, especially in the summer, one trade makes a day. And
Well,
that's about.
not only that, Jamie, on that trade right there, if you entered with Holly or somewhere near,
Hmm.
that is one. If you're watching and you're seeing that huge, of course, the relative volume in the morning was much higher than what it was
Yep.
that you see now, because you see the volume died out throughout the day. But if you're in a trade like that and you're looking at a potential reversal after 7 or 8 days of sell-off and the volume is big, and then you then you do get that reversal, man, that's where you add. I mean,
Hmm.
that's where you add to your position. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean it's just so. I mean, like I said, it's just a beautiful setup
hmm
on many levels. Definitely
Yep.
a 3 gold star trade, probably even a fourth on top of there as well when you are looking over here at the daily at the potential.
hmm
Well, that's about it for the Holly Show today. And by the way,
All
ladies and
right.
gents, Andy and I just installed the latest version, and I was reading through the release notes, and even though it's not here yet in Brokerage Plus, they have installed the framework for the paper trading, which hopefully will be upcoming here in one of the next releases here, which will allow you guys to boot up Brokerage Plus. You won't have to connect to IB and use their demo account. You'll just be able to demo trade or write with trade ideas with no other platforms involved, which it's going to be make life a lot easier for people wanting to get used to everything before they go live. You'll be able to
Oh,
do it all
absolutely.
within the TI platform. So
It's going to be
definitely coming down
huge.
the chute soon. All right. So yeah,
Yeah,
you already grabbed it. Very
I
cool. All
did.
right.
I did. Yeah, guys. I mean, I can't tell you how many people hit us up, but a lot of these brokers, they make you open up an account and then put a minimum amount in there before you can trade. Well, you don't have to do that anymore hopefully in about a month or so. So, or maybe, I don't know, maybe even sooner, Jamie.
Well, we were hoping before the next test drive, but that's a
Yeah,
little
that might
iffy.
be.
So
That would be around about a month. Yeah.
yep.
All right. Uh, well, anyway, speaking of new versions and things like that, you guys, I think in the new beta, you have access to it now. What you want to do, let me just show you there. If you are a subscriber, and if you're not a subscriber, guys, what I'm doing is just showing them where they can go and download the latest beta. We're always introducing new versions. It seems like every week or every other week for developmental anyway. But then we release them to you guys. So you want to go to products page, all right, trade ideas, and then just click on products, and then come down here and click on download latest trade ideas. And then once you do that, all right, you want to skip over the production version and go to the beta and download the latest beta. Usually by the time we've got through kicking them around, guys, the beta is ready to go. Okay, we just keep it in beta for maybe a week or two so you guys can kick around on it before we release it as a production. But what you're going to be able to do, well, you can read the things it's going to do, the release notes, but I believe, yeah, let's see, added full risk performance. Okay, so you'll get the full risk performance in AI windows. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to get, correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, they'll be able to see all of Holly's trades in one window. You got that,
That
Waleed?
is
Did you already
true.
download it? I can always bounce it off Waleed. All right, yeah. So what you've been kind of confined to up until this point is having to juggle in between the three hollies, okay, by right-clicking and going to segments and having three hollies. Well, now you have what's called all in here. So you can click on all. And confirm this for me, Waleed, do you have the option to click on only profitable trades? All right, that is great. Guys, play around with this. I can't tell you how many times, let's just take an example. All right, I was looking at one earlier that was a long, and let me see if I can find it here. No, it was actually a short. This is it, I believe. Yeah. So this is one right here where you get the signal pretty quick. I'm sorry, this is a buy. No, this is a sell. Okay, this is a fade, a sell. Well, if you can see right here, it's a strategy called putting on the brakes. So it's a fading strategy. Well, look what happened. It basically just triggered and went right through it. Okay, and you could have gotten a better price, but then again, you might want to say to yourself, well, the thing just kind of went to highs, even though it was kind of barely still down on the day when it triggered. Look what happened. This thing was never profitable. So I can't tell you how many times, people will fight an idea, whether it's their idea or where it's somebody else's or generated by an automated AI system, and they will argue with the tape and saying this should be a fade. And look what happens. You'll fight this thing all day long, and I've seen it happen. I've been there. I've done it. You've got to learn to break that habit quickly because it'll rip you to pieces. But what I'm saying is, if you are running only in profitable trades, you would never see that. It would never be on here. Now, if it went up maybe another 10, 15 minutes and then rolled over and went positive, then it would appear on here. That's when you might want to take it. So I can't tell you guys, how beneficial this could be to you, but if you just want to run, only on, profitable trades. Now, you may have to buy it a little bit later or sell it, short it, whatever you're doing. You might, but at the same time, I think it can save you, a lot of money because you're not going to be fighting the trades that never get positive, and they're out there. Now, there are trades that never get negative at either, but at least you're seeing them on your blotter. So you can look for a pullback to buy. Maybe you have to chase a nickel, whatever the reason, it's okay because at least it's profitable, it's going in the right direction, and you're buying a stock that's moving in your direction. So take a look at that, guys. I think it can help a lot of people by just only viewing profitable trades. But what's nice though is now you can have them all in one window and you can sort by time. So this way you're seeing every trade come through in one window and not having to, jump back and forth between segments. So it can be a game changer, I think. So that accompanied with the profitable trades, I think could really be nice. But it's not jiggling now, Jamie. I don't know what's wrong with it. All right, there it goes. Wally,
there's a little bit of stickiness on your
yeah, watch this.
bar.
Tell me if yours is doing this. I told the text about it, but about every 5 or 10 seconds. See that, Jamie? It just sits there and does little tremors. I don't know what's causing that. I think now I'm not sure. Well, if you pull it up far enough, you don't have a scroll bar anymore. But it seems like when you have a scroll bar, it's starting to jiggle on me. Let me know if that does for you too, Waleed, if you suppress it like that.
I'm not seeing it over here on mine. I've had mine up for a while.
Or you haven't?
I have not.
Okay, interesting.
But when I resize the window, it has issues. It takes there's a delay. So anyway, that's why we test these things, to ferret out these little bugs before the release.
Yeah, maybe it's just, maybe if I start it back up again, I won't do that. All right. So I'm watching a lot of bigger cap stocks today, stocks that do, at least a couple of million shares a day, stocks that HFT would be interested in trading. They don't so much trade the stocks that do 200,000 or 300,000 shares a day. I'm gonna have to put this on one symbol because now it's bothering me. Yeah, I'm noticing, man, I'll see stocks, the market is going up and these stocks would be sitting there and then all of a sudden they start going the other direction, they're going to lows. And I know it's just a game, it's just a game that the high frequency traders are playing. They want to push the stock down to lows to shake everybody out, even though the market's going in the opposite direction. It used to not be that way, okay? Big cap stocks used to pretty much trade hand in hand with the market. You get a market move, they will go in that direction. Because since the advent of it's gotten, worse and worse. So I'm like, all right, let me see if I can create something where we can game the game. So in other words, let's play their game with them. So I just started playing around. Let me pull it up. And I wanted to see how it worked, and I actually wanted to back test it. And where'd it go? Yeah, there it is. All right. Gaming the game, I called it. All right, because they're playing a game. We're going to see if we can't game on that game. So let me just pull it up for you and pull up the configuration instead of us trying to guess, because I just built this today. All right, so lo and behold, look what I got, a new low. Okay, this is just a regular O intraday low. And if I told you that I had a built-in alert where you were buying stocks intraday, this is for day trade too, that are hitting lows. I mean, you're told to do just the opposite, buy highs. So if I developed a strategy that would buy lows, and if I told you it'd have over a 65% winning percentage, you'd probably think I was nuts, stock hitting lows on the day, and you're doing just the opposite. Most people are, probably shorting them or selling their longs, but you're going to be there buying them. You would think, yeah, that's a stupid strategy, Andy. No wonder you're not day trading anymore. But anyway, let's take a look at it. All right. Yes, I'll take that. That's another. This is not anywhere near. I'll take that, but it's just the same kind of strategy. I'll take that. It's a great one. As a matter of fact, there were some good ones that came through. I'll take that today. This is more of just finding, maybe some bigger cap stocks. And I didn't want to use cap because I wanted volume. Okay. There's some big cap stocks that don't do a lot of volume. So what I used in here was an average daily volume for 3-month period. 2 million shares. Okay, that's enough volume where high frequency tradings can manipulate. Yeah, can manipulate it. I wanted to find stocks that do at least 2 million. So I just started thinking, what I wanted to see. I said, well, I don't want to see stocks that are in a, massive, downtrend. I don't want to be buying stocks that on the daily chart, they look like crap. So I put change in 20 days. They have to be up at least 2%. Okay, so at least I know over the last 20 days, there has to be some sort of upward trend. Okay, 2%. I just went over the average daily volume. My curiosity was not when the market was selling off. Obviously, if the market's down on the day, I don't want to be buying lows. But if the market's up on the day and the stock is hitting lows, okay, I may want to buy that as a kind of a contrarian fade, So what I did is I kind of, first I used this S&P had to be at 0.25%, and I didn't have a max in there. So, but when I back tested, I found that if the market was way up, let's say up over I shouldn't say way up, over 0.56 and above, they didn't perform very well. That just showed weakness. But if the market, the S&P 500 was up 0.2%, at least 0.2%, that's about 50 cents on the SPYs. And no more than 0.56%, that's about $1.70. So you got a nice little spread here. So you would, if you make this thing too tight, you would never get hardly alerts coming through. But this is a nice little spread. There's many times when the market is up 50 cents to $1.70. So, but anything above that $1.70, and if the stock's hitting lows, it was actually it just plummeted. The profits just plummeted. And so the back testing performed awful. As a matter of fact, I'll show you here in just a minute. Okay, and of course I have an EPS filter in here to just kind of eliminate any ETFs. For those of you guys who may be new in here, this is just a hack we use to say that anything that comes through this window has to report some sort of earnings. And then what I did, I said, you know what, I want this somewhere near yesterday's close. Or not yesterday's close, but yesterday's high. Okay, in other words, I don't want a stock hitting low and it be in the good Lord, people leave me alone. It be in the lower end of yesterday's range. I wanted it close to yesterday's high. So what I did is I put position in previous day range 95%. Okay, let's click on our show me button to see exactly what I did. The price is in between 95% and 105% above the low end of this range, which basically an easy way to say that it's within 5% of yesterday's range from the high. So If we're looking at a stock that ranged between $9 and $10, okay, this price would have to be at 9.95 or $10.05. Hope that makes sense to people. All right, so and this price seems like above $85, it started to kind of get sloppy. Not really decline all that much, but just kind of got sloppy. The best performance was between $5 and $85. So once again, there's not much to this. We're not looking for any kind of huge volume, okay? We're not looking for any sort of, obviously no breakouts through highs or anything. This is stocks that are hitting lows. So very simple. Stock is hitting lows and it's meeting this criteria right here with the SPYs up between 0.2 and 0.56. So let's take a look at this and see what we got. Back test strategy. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to run it between 9 and 2 o'clock. This makes sense. You don't want to catch the first 30 minutes of the day when they're driving these things down for any reason. I want to just eliminate, and I did this before I even had to look at it, okay? I don't want to see anything before 9 o'clock. Let it trade for 30 minutes, and then a lot of times at that 9 o'clock level, you start to get some shenanigans going on. All right, timed exit, like I said, it's going to be a day trade. It's going to be an all-day hold. Risk management, okay, a percent. And we're using a 1% stop loss. We're not using a profit target. Advance, we are going to take this back the full 64 trading days. And so we're not just getting the last 6 weeks where we've had a good move. We're also getting some, some tape in there where we had some down movement too. But here's the sweet thing about this one, because a lot of people may argue, it's like, well, this is great in a bear market. What's going to happen when the market's tanking? Well, think about it. Because of our SPY filter, okay, if the markets are down, you're not going to get anything coming through here. The market has to be up at least 0.2%. So this is going to prevent you, obviously, from trading, getting any tickers when the market's, crashing down. All right. Summary, there we go. Let's simulate buy and see what happens. Remember, this is stocks hitting new lows on the day. Look at this, crazy. So there you have it. You got a profit factor. Remember, we're buying new lows. Profit factor of 3.82. You got total trades 161. That's not a lot, but remember, because of our parameter of our SPYs, there's going to be days where you don't get anything through here. If the markets are flat, you're not getting it. If the market's down, you're not going to get anything. So not a bad number when you have to have, the SPYs in a certain area. All right, average winner 29. That's not too bad. Like to see that's really not that bad. You're almost at a 2-to-1. So man, a lot of good stuff here, guys. This is what it's saying. If you had a count of $50,000 and you started at 50,000 and you traded every one of these alerts that came through here over the last 64 trading days, your profits would be basically over $2,000. Now, the beauty about this strategy is I think you actually can do better because you're buying lows. You're buying stocks that are hitting lows. So, if you're looking at it and pulling it up, there's a really good chance that it could have come down even further for you. So that's what I like about contrarian strategies. You can a lot of times you can get a much better price, obviously, than chasing momentum. So good stuff. Let me show you real quick what I had it on, and then I'll share it here in just a minute. But I'm just going to show you if we had this filter up to, let's just put it at 1% and see what it would happen. Simulate buy. Now the market can be up to 1%. Look at the difference here. World difference. And it makes sense to me if you think about it, okay? Look at that, nothing like this one, okay? And if I go to optimizing and take a look at other filters, and I go to SPY change, This is what's cool, guys. Anybody looking at this for the first time are probably thinking, what the heck is he doing? Well, we can back test all of our strategies and we can optimize them. So I go to SPY change today and look how it drops off. Let's put it on 0.5, or wait, what was 0.05. Look how it drops off after around 54. I could probably, yeah, look at this, how bad it gets when the market is up. So it makes sense to me. And the reason it makes sense to me, okay, if the market is barely up on the day, okay, that's probably saying, oh, it's more likely to be some sort of just manipulation. The market's not moving a whole lot. They're just kind of manipulating these stocks. But if this market's up, 1% or higher, or even in these levels right here, it really starts to go down. It's almost as if saying there's something wrong with the stock if the market's up, above, what point, $1.75 in the SPYs. So you're basically looking at 0.6%, something like that. That's a level where if the stock is hitting lows, it's just probably showing it's just weakness. There are sellers in there for some reason. But I found that interesting because I wasn't expecting it to be this much of a difference. So that seems to be the sweet spot around 0.56. Let me make sure I put it back. I think I have it saved, but you about to say something over there, Jamie?
Well, I was just, what's going through my mind is did you try flipping this one?
Well, I thought about that. We can give it a shot. Let me see.
Yeah, hey, never hurts to try.
No.
Sometimes you find something unexpected, but if it doesn't work, no big deal either. I'm just curious.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. Okay. I'm trying to see where it would have to be. Yeah, I'm trying to see how they would flip some of these, but let's just go ahead and do it and see. Let's duplicate it. Okay, and what we're going to do is go to configure, and we're going to flip. Okay, now the stock is hitting new highs, and let's take a look at the configuration to see how it flipped them. Okay, the market has to be down. Okay, so the stock's hitting a new high. Previous range, so it'd have to be at the low near the low of the previous day's range. So it looks like that flipped okay. Yeah, let's give it a shot and see what happens. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be shorting it. So let's back test the strategy. Make sure everything remained the same. Looks like it did. And let's short it and see what happens. I think it's probably not going to perform as well. It may have to do with that trading at lows, but yeah, not as good there.
Yeah, so the flip didn't work right off the bat, but I bet if you approached new high with the same methodology as when you originally optimized, I bet there's something.
Yeah, that's something I would have to basically, yeah, I may have to change some of those filters. I'd have to re-optimize it and stuff like that. Yeah, I bet there's a way to do it for sure. It might be, using let me try this. Let's try this real quickly. Wait, let me configure, and let's put it up at, I'm going to change this right here to down the day, and let's do the same previous day's range as we did earlier, just to see. Probably not, but let's give it a shot. I'm thinking it probably performs, nah. Trying, yeah. I had to play around with that. Yep, that's not gonna, hey. Yeah, that's something, yeah, I definitely have to play around with. But anyway, it's not so much, I'm gonna share this with you guys, and obviously, if you look at the numbers, you can't argue with the numbers. You can't argue with the numbers. They're pretty much, that's what happened the last 64 days. If you would have went long, all these stocks hitting new lows, it works. I mean, obviously the dynamics of the market are different. This could change, 2 or 3 weeks from now, may not be performing very well. But what I want to do is kind of, and I've been doing this a lot lately, is try to get people out of the, if idea that you have to buy highs, chasing the momentum. There, it can work. All right, obviously, if you catch the right stock, Holly proved that today. It can definitely work good. But uh, if you're swing trading or maybe longer term day trading and definitely investing, you might want to try a little, contrarian, looking for spots, being contrarian, and just doing a little bit, stuff that doesn't seem normal, because uh, the market has a way of shaking out a lot of traders, and a lot of them stick to the same old games. And I just wanted to show you there's other ways to profit in the marketplace. And by doing a contrarian, like, I'll take that. Wally brought that up. We've been playing around with that a lot in our little account. We've been trading, testing out Brokerage Plus. Man, we've been finding some great trades in there. You're buying stocks down over 1% that are hitting new lows, and it's just counterintuitive. And sometimes, if you can find a method that can work, man, it can be very profitable, because you're going against, especially when you're right. You can be right big, but because you're getting it at the right price. All right, so let me do this. Let me go ahead and share this and with you guys, gaming the game. And I'm gonna drop it into the chat window. And guys, I didn't spend a lot of time on this one today, so you might play around with it. You might can even make this, much better. All right, it should be in there right about now. All right. So guys, people that are using this, using our software, I just shared a cloud link with them. Now they're able to grab that link, and they are able to have access to this alert that I just went over. You're welcome, Waleed. You're welcome. All right, guys, we got a few minutes here. If anybody has any stocks they want me to take a look at, me and Jamie, to take a look at the charts. And if not, we can go ahead and bring Scott in. You guys who may be in here and not subscribed, hang on. He will share a promo code with you where you can get a nice little discount. You're welcome, Waleed. But looks like people are pretty content today. They know how to read those charts.
Good stuff, Andy. Yeah, that CVS looks familiar, doesn't it, Andy?
Yeah. You talking about CVS?
Yeah, somebody threw, see Evan threw CVS up there, and that was actually one of our associates here was short that guy right off the open because of the gap, and worked out pretty nice.
Yep. I'm not seeing that. I don't know why I'm not seeing that. CVS. But anyway, I think what you should keep an eye out. This is obviously a news play today. Nice little gap up, and came back and held this little range right here. This is what I'd be keeping an eye on, me, if you're looking to the long side. All right, because we did gap up above this, and you can see it came down today and held this gap. I would watch this. If it can hold this gap, maybe tomorrow or the next day, yeah, you could may get a little horseshoe action and may see some. I'm not. If I was long, I would not be happy with the price action today. Sold off pretty much all day. People were taking advantage of the gap and selling. But I think if it can't hold that level, that's what you want to watch. If it gets down inside, this line, now you're right back in this range. So you want to stay out of that range. I don't know if you're long, not now, but that's what I'd want to see. If I were long, and if I wasn't long, I would want to see it, maybe hold this line here for the next couple of days before I would enter. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your kind words. I'm going to bring Scott back in, and he is going to walk us out of here.
All right. Yeah, thank you. A couple items on the way out. We have some new ebooks out. If you don't have them yet, go ahead and get them. Trade-ideas.com/setup. There's 3 books, each one with 2 chapters. Both Jamie and Andy contributed chapters to them, so do check them out. They've got some great advice about your swing trading, active investing, range breaks, pullback strategies. Excuse me. We've got a podcast. There should be a new episode up tomorrow, so stay tuned and just search for Trade Ideas Podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Add the subscription, and then you get the new episodes. You can also check out the back issues with some interviews. It's got a lot of good stuff, good information about what's coming out with the software too. Summertime is the code that's good this month, all caps, just like you're going to see it on your screen, and that's good for 15% off any subscription or Brokerage Plus. You can also do that to upgrade from standard to premium if you decide you want to get access to Holly and be able to auto trade and all that kind of fun stuff. You can follow Jamie on Twitter at QuantBot. Also follow at Today Trader, also at Trade Ideas, and Trade Ideas Pro is where we are on Facebook if you want to follow that. Share what we post with your friends. Info at TradeIdeas.com is the best address to send any of your questions to, because it goes into our help desk software and gets routed to the best team member to answer your questions. We did record this, and we're going to have a recording up later on tonight or tomorrow, so stay tuned for an email from GoToWebinar tomorrow with a link to the playlist. Thanks, Andy. Thank you, Jamie. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow.